RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night, Meltdown Monday night edition. Excited to connect. Looking forward to find out what's on your radar. Lots of story worth touching on. Of course, the primary subject matter has been the response to the spillover, as well as the attempted taper tantrum, and all the other things, man. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Mike, the host of Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And as always, want to make sure I give a chance to give some shout outs to everybody in the community. Any new viewers or anybody want to just get a quick shout out, represent your city, where you're from, feel free to let me know in the chat. And I will do my best to acknowledge your presence for blessing us this evening. And then when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027 is the number to connect and let your voice be heard. All right, so let me know what's going on, people. Throw out some things and we can touch on it. I got about 4 or 5 different headlines worth touching on. But yeah, for the most part, everybody has to know what's going on. But yet, we have the FOMC tomorrow and Wednesday. And ultimately, it just means more pressure on the supposed powers that be to try to control this narrative or not. And so it's literally this is the result of compounding debt implosion, where there's a liquidity crunch on all these entities that have taken out too much debt over the years, and now it's time to pay the piper. And there's not enough dollars out there in circulation to meet all these obligations. So therefore, the Federal Reserve is going to have to cut on that spigot or risk the loss of ruining this entire so-called recovery. And there goes the economy. And then, of course, Congress is in session as of today, and Janet Yellen was out yesterday pleading for them to raise the debt ceiling just one more time. Give us one more chance at trying to keep this thing going. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting end of the month, man. But let's dive in. As always, for those plugging in, hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and then we'll jump right in. So we got Ed Hammond says, Jesus is Lord. No doubt. Barlight Broker. DC Precise, Lightning for thee. We got Gene checking in, Alternative. We got Tom. Jay, we got Mass Administrator, we got Catch and Eat, we got In the 1%, Natural Mama in the building, Elias Jones, S400 Jack blessing us. We got Shane over on Facebook checking in from Georgia. What's up, my friend? Get your weight up. Kenneth Gibson, we got Lala checking in from BK. We got Jeremy from, it says Phoenix, China housing market has crashed. Yeah, the housing bubble is bursting or has burst, either one. Past tense or present or more to come. Let me see here. We got Midnight. I missed that. Midnight Green checking in for Phil. Okay, fair amount of people, man. Appreciate everybody for checking in and blessing us with your presence. As always, as I mentioned, hit the thumbs up. Hopefully more people are notified. But before I even start off today, on my end, it's always a scramble trying to, be able to provide a platform where people can communicate, where we or like-minded individuals can stay plugged in. But yet, once again, it's the forces at work that make it somewhat discouraging. Just because you can do so much trying to plan and prepare and put out video content, but when it's removed off of a platform such as this, is not much I can do about it. And so, for those that might not be aware, the 3 live streams from last week, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, about Friday afternoon and Friday morning, were removed from the platform. And so even on the backup channel, which is Detroit Live Talk, those same, like right now I'm streaming here and on that backup channel, it was removed there as well. So I'm not sure whether it was just the subject matter or, it was a lot of heavy Evergrande talk and, whatever. But just as a heads up. And so that's one of the things where I always knew the time would come where signs will be given that, the end might be drawing near. But if it is what it is. But what I've done, of course, I always encourage people to plug in with the alternative media sites. And so beneath this video here is a couple links where you guys can connect. And so I just set up a Telegram group chat where there's opportunities to do live stream video there, as well as audio there as well. So I just plugged in tonight. So beneath this video right here, there's 4 links, of which I'd encourage you guys to all connect. And by now, everybody should have multiple social media platforms away from the big tech, publicly traded companies that are designed to censor and tailor the message. So just make sure you guys are aware to stay plugged in, and we're going to do the best we can, man, and keep plugging out. The goal is to provide you, the community, a chance to let your voice be heard, and I'm going to do that. So, Miles, appreciate you for the blessing. It says Joe Biden being impeached, accused of treason by Marjorie Greene. Yeah, I saw that, and I want to say Marjorie Greene has put forth some type of legislation before about impeachment, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say right when he was supposedly instilled as president, I said she thinks she came out with something, but yet it all sounds good. It all looks good on paper, but the likelihood of it getting enough momentum and steam at this current time is not too likely, in my personal opinion. But once again, there's always hope. There's always opportunity. But based upon the current trajectory of the way things seem to be intensifying, I wouldn't hang my hat on that alone. But we'll keep moving and plugging along, man. Keep your head on a swivel. It says Telegram is UK based. Keep your head on a swivel. Yeah, and that's one of the things where Telegram has been relatively stable to this point. Of course, every platform, anything on the internet is capable of being unplugged rather. And so it's just right now doing the best I can to diversify to where it's be a central location for where like-minded individuals in the group can connect. And so beyond Discord and then Telegram, it's also about just trying to stay in tab with one another. And so if we even have to move accordingly to us as things change, we'll be able to communicate. That's all. But yet nothing, of course, is certain in this technical age, because all this stuff is designed for a sinister purpose, unfortunately. But anyway, okay, let's keep moving right along. And I got a couple articles here. And then, of course, want to get your guys' thoughts on what's going on and what's to come. And so basically, everybody has to realize that, the current events that's happening in Asia, compounded on the fact that the Fed is jawboning with the taper talk, it puts a lot of entities that have been overextended with debt in a tight pinch, because not only is there not the sufficient enough growth and profit being made to be able to sustain a lot of those debts, but more companies have taken out more leverage that I assume this accommodative policy has warranted. And of course, they knew every dying corporation out there that's over leveraged in debt, they had to have known at some point the bill would come due. Now, they might not have expected it to come due so early, given the fact that we're still in the phase of extra friendly accommodative policies, but yet maybe the Federal Reserve talking about tapering is signaling ahead of time that by there being a less accommodative policies out there, there's more of a need to shore things up now. And of course, as of with this Evergrande situation, of course, it could not have just remained an isolated event. Of course, it's going to spill over, just because how can debt that's systemically interconnected with so many institutions, because it's the bedrock of this entire system is based upon debt. And of course, everybody's overextended. So how can it not impact other companies and other investors and other institutions? And so one of the things that caught my attention outside of everything else was the result of about $1 billion, or maybe 300 or so. Well, no, I'm sorry, about 800, give or take 800 or so $billion of someone's net worth was wiped away or just transferred out of his possession to somebody else's. And I'm gonna put this on the screen here, and then just go through a couple different articles here. But this right here caught my attention, because I would imagine this person is extremely pissed. But yet, once again, all that wealth gain was done based upon a Ponzi bubble housing market. So here's an article here. And this came out of Yahoo, but was retweeted rather. But it says Chinese. Well, let me go back here. Let me see. It says Chinese property magnate loses $1 billion Evergrande panic. And so we got Zhang Yulin, the chairman of the Cynic Housing Group, which seems to be the next property development company that's having some issues. He said saw his net worth drop from $1.3 billion today within a couple of hours to about $250 million by afternoon. And the worst part about it is this company here is definitely having some issues, because coming up in October, it says Cynic saw a sudden sell-off and massive increase in trading volume on its shares in the hours prior to suspension. It says which comes just weeks before they must pay 9.5% on 246 million bonds due in October. And they're not going to have the paper. So that's going to be another domino that falls right over. So Evergrande is not the only one. And then a couple more here, and then we'll keep moving right along. But it's, once again, shares in China's Evergrande plunge again as fears of a contagion grow. This is well beyond a contagion. This is outright a catastrophe in the making. But yet here we got some interesting tweets here that came from earlier. But the Hang Seng Index from back in March has been heading straight down. And so it drops 3%. Everything today was, 1 to 3%, which is not really bad in the grand scheme of things, because based upon the great financial crisis decline, based upon a lot of these graphs here, they still have a lot of room to go. So here's Evergrande shares as of right now. In April was about $14.50, $15. As of right now, it's about to touch $2 a share. And here's a question: how many people out there will be buying the dip, the Evergrande dip, or running to take cover? Anyway, just some interesting things here. More details there. Keep it moving. Chinese property developer Cynic halts trading after sinking 87%. Imagine if you were holding shares in this company. Would you be so eager to be buying this dip, knowing that they're about to go belly up more than likely? But 87% in halted trading. So we'll see what the markets look like when they open up right about now. There's some more here. Here's Chinese property fears spread beyond. And it's just more interesting news, man. But let's touch on the home front here. Here is an interesting article here. Just the headline. It says U.S. stocks hit with second biggest sale program in history. And so this is the S&P right here, people. Took a nice little dip here. It just shows that today we were off by 2 stocks from the biggest selling wave in history. This is according to Green and Zero Hedge. So, yeah, and this is just light work. This is a very light. I wouldn't even say it's correction. It's just a hiccup. This is a slight glitch in the system. With what I expect, and I'm assuming you as well, you probably expect more to come, unfortunately. But yet a lot of people are betting and banking on these assets here doing extremely well or continue to do extremely well. And don't get me wrong, the central powers at play here will definitely do the best they can to keep these things relatively green moving forward. And I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow the markets open up somewhat in the green. But then again, the spillover continues. The contagion effect continues to where things just seem to spiral out of control. More things come from out of the woodworks that were not anticipated. And there is more confidence lost. Because ultimately, and I'm doing a lot of rambling, but bear with me. Ultimately, what it boils down to, in my opinion, is that, as I mentioned, more debt was taken out than can ever be repaid back. So the need for dollars is paramount. Like right now, only way you can pay a lot of those junk bonds back denominated in dollars is to have freshly created dollars come your way so that you can meet just the interest payments. Nevertheless, talking about principal. So we're in a point where touching principal and paying down debt is not possible for national governments, for corporations, for your state, your local governments. You can't pay stuff off no more because it's beyond the point of return. Now it's a matter of just trying to do the bare minimum to make your next month payment, to make the next quarter's payment, to make the next, to pay interest. That's where we're at now. Can they do enough funny currency creation behind the surface just to make interest payments, to get them through to the next payment and then the next payment? And that's how they're going to lose control, because unless the Federal Reserve is continuously accommodating all these needs for freshly created currency, and then, of course, banks have the confidence to continue to lend in an environment where they know that the average consumer is not really in the best position to continue to overextend themselves in debt, there's going to be issues. And this stuff goes well beyond my understanding. And a lot of the typical analysts, of course, everybody have their own angles as to how they're trying to cover this, but it's a systemic event occurring right now. Bar down, hands down. It's no easy way out of this. Only thing is possible is literally a restructuring of all this debt. And think about this: somebody's debt is another man's asset, i.e., another man's retirement portfolio, another man's, you name it. Somebody's expecting to get paid out. But how can you get paid out when there's not enough currency to make due on those next payments. It's unfortunate, man, but this is where we at. Anyway, let's keep moving. Just a couple more stories here. Then I'll open the phone lines, get your take on things, and find out what's happening, man. What else is happening? Of course, there's more stories than I can touch on, but I'll do the best I can. But here's just a little bit more information. S&P falls 1.7% for its worst day since May. Dow shed 600 points. And as I mentioned, this is all lightweight. It stands to get worse. But then again, the Federal Reserve, central banks will step in, and we're going to go up. We're going to take off to numbers we've never seen. I still anticipate at some point after this next severe correction for the accommodative policy to step in, and then we're going to take off to 40, 50,000 Dow, 5,000 S&P, you name it, 80,000 Bitcoin, and all that good stuff. But of course, it doesn't have any true substance to it because it's all inflated currency creation at the last minute. Then here's something as well, and speak about the real true spillover would be the U.S. Treasury. And it says Yellen's debt default would permanently weaken America. Now, this right here is in alignment with what's happening in Asia. But yet there's enough currency to kind of probably paper that over. But when it comes to the actual head honcho of currencies, i.e. the Federal Reserve note, and the United States government, the whole full faith and confidence, I'd imagine you guys can believe it's already been eroded. And at this current moment, we're just talking about kicking a can a little further just to make payments on what's already owed. And when you have the Treasury Secretary, i.e. former Federal Chairwoman, out here begging and pleading, that lets us know that this is going to be an interesting next 2 weeks as this stuff unwinds. And like always, the can will get kicked down. Something will be passed. But then think about the environment we're in now. If they're continuously just trying to create enough currency to make due on interest, what does that say to everybody who's spent their entire lives working and doing the right thing as far as saving and investing in this same exact currency that they have weaponized with no end in sight? It makes me feel sympathetic and somewhat, I feel very, I feel very angry because it's the current generation and the generation before me, us rather, before the millennials, the baby boomers in particular. Those are the people who all this is coming down. It's coming down on their watch, because they're the ones that put in the most work. They didn't want to put in 30, 40 years of their lives anticipating being able to withdraw from the system. And to have the system turn against them is unfortunate. But yet, man, I hope and I pray, and I know everybody in this community here have already done the best they can to limit their long-term dependency on this system, whether it means having already pulled out, diversified, done whatever they could have done along the way to and have insurance on all of this failed policy that's in play right now. Just because I feel sympathetic for a lot of people who are probably are asleep at the wheel and have no clue. Rick, appreciate the love offering, buddy. That says government shutdown. That is another thing at play there. And so we've had prior instances where the can or the ceiling wasn't raised fast enough, and the government had to go into that next month of October without the funds, and they shut down. They do some of the real simple things. They shut down parks, they shut down museums, and all those things that nobody really on the surface care about, actually. And then it gets worse, and then it'll be like the National Guard don't get their paychecks, then like some other agency may not get their checks, and then we have a couple lapses on some bills, i.e. the bonds tend to go belly up at that point, and then the possibility of interest rates having to spike or having to make adjustments for that default would be through the roof. And so right then and there, like, the dollar, the confidence, who's going to want, real debt instruments at that point? People will still probably want them, not realizing what they're actually, going to be receiving. But it's very unfortunate. And so Lala says, my insurance is the most high, 100%. 100% at the end of the day and the beginning of the day. That's your true source of everything you need. And that's where I think from a spiritual standpoint, having your confidence and your faith in your source, who is the creator of everything visible and invisible, should give people a little bit more of confidence that they'll be able to make it through. Granted, everything around you might not be as stable, or things might look to be somewhat shaky grounds, but yet it's something about having confidence in the true source of everything that would probably should do wonders. I ain't gonna say probably, but should do wonders. But once again, with it, what's anticipated, nobody has really probably lived through an event that we're all experiencing on many fronts. Let me see. Okay, so keep it moving. I got a couple articles here. So and I'll move right along. Curious to hear what else you guys are keeping an eye on. And it's something that's okay, something that's alarming, something that's really alarming. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. Something that's alarming that caught my attention early that I might just have to rant on a little bit is it's something about how the government is looking to unravel some of the benefits and privileges for all of those pre-tax and tax deferred vehicles that they've set up, primarily the IRA platform. And it looks like within that, let me see if I can find it. Within the budget plan, that 3.5 trillion, which is probably I think about 10,000 or so pages. Within that, there's some verbiage that says that they're going to try to undo some things where you won't be able to kick the can down the road as far as the taxation. And they're going to adjust some things that qualify, especially when it comes to those self-directed IRAs. They're going to take away some of those benefits and privileges. So I don't have the article. I didn't grab it here. But anyway, it's interesting because, as I mentioned, whenever they start to lose the game or want to change or kick the goalposts and change the measuring stick, then they have to change the rules of the game. And it looks like, as always, that the goal is to you own nothing to be happy with it. So expect the rules with the retirement vehicles as well as property rights and all the other things to change as well, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's just where we're at, man. And let me see. Okay, I'll start rambling. Here you go, right here. So here is actually, let me put it on the screen here. So this is something that I saw floating around that I wanted to grab, and it's premature right now, but this is just a little snippet that somebody tagged Lawrence Lepard in, who's a very wise individual out there who've had on the show a couple of times. But just some of the things here, man. It talks about these changes, if enacted into law, would have direct and negative impact on your ability to self-direct your IRA. It says, how would this proposed legislation affect me is the question. And then it gives, 4 categories here that people who will be impacted by this. It says the proposed legislation would prohibit IRAs from holding the following types of investments: private placements, checkbook control IRA, minority interest in LLCs, investments that are required to IRA owner to be an accredited investor, and then it goes on and on and on. But this is some stuff that somebody extracted out of that bill, and they're doing some more research on it. So just something that you guys should be aware of. Stay tuned. There'll be more information coming, I'm sure. But yeah, man, the spillover is just beginning. So we'll find out what the Federal Reserve's response is to this. But I'd anticipate, for some reason, I just feel like they're going to stay the course. They're going to stay the course because that's a part of the plan, is to literally, as I said months and months ago, to create as much havoc as possible so that it makes them look as if they can step in somehow, some way, and try to be the savior. But all they can actually do is wait for the Federal Reserve to pass a couple more stimulus packages so that they can then buy all that up and then create the currency. And then if currency be created, extended all across the world. And then, of course, we always have the monetary toolkit where the Federal Reserve can create some type of special purpose vehicle to provide easy accommodative policies towards all those institutions in Europe and Asia, just as a backstop. And that's the type of stuff that's available, man. All right. Let me see here. So Shane says, Federal Reserve notes are a direct tax on labor. Your IRA is denominated in a tax. Here's your sign. Yeah, good point. Good point. All those financial vehicles that were created were designed to keep your stuff in the system with very little regard to the 10, 20, 30, 40 year time frame of actually having to pay out on those things. But anyway, let's talk, man. I got more stories. I'm gonna save the rants. Let's open the phone lines and let's hear what's on your radar. And of course, there's more stories worth touching on. And speaking of which, I couldn't help but notice that earlier today, El Salvador president came out and talked about buying the dip. And I thought that was quite interesting that, you know, we got a nation now that's out here allegedly buying the dip. All right, let's get this call in 1 second. Let me get this. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Awesome. Give me a call back. We'll get you on here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Hey, it's Ed. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing good, my friend. What's your mind tonight?
Two real quick things. I do feel sorry for the people who's worked their whole life, like you were talking about, and are unaware of the they may come up empty here. But I really feel sorry more so for younger people like yourself and people younger. I'm 68. I've had 68 good years in America. I never had to fight a war. My dad was a little too old for World War II, and it's been good times in America. So I feel more for younger people, especially people trying to figure their way in life, 18, 20 years old, and going to college. And it's such a mess out there now. It's really sad, but the Lord's going to stay with us, and we just need to stay strong in the Lord, Mike.
Hands down, man. Hands down. I appreciate it. And that's great to hear that from your perspective, given the fact that you've been one of the beneficiaries of having a chance to have experienced life for a couple more years more than me to be able to say that. So, hey, I appreciate it because I feel the same way about the younger generation for myself. I got 20, 30 years of what I consider good years. So, but yeah, hey, man, that's very true.
And, we don't have to give up hope. There's always hope.
Oh, definitely.
We stand on the word of God, and God can turn this thing around if he so chooses.
100%, man. Hey, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, be good. Bye. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It goes both ways. I'm just sharing my opinion based on my perspective of, if I put myself in the shoes of a lot of people who and right now, and this adds more to the equation. We have a lot of people who are approaching retirement, people that I know of that literally because of this mandate of having to participate at their place of employment, they weren't anticipating or planning on retiring just because they enjoy what they do and whatever. But yet they've already said, hey, I'm not doing it. It's time for me to call it quits right now. Whether or not I'm fully vested or not, I put enough time. I'm financially okay. I'm gonna quit. And that's where it's like, okay, just plans been interrupted. Nobody really probably wanted to retire because if you love what you do, do what you keep doing it. But a lot of people's plans were just cut short. And those people right there, I assume nobody actually foresaw this type of event occurring. And then for it to probably be pushed on as long as they can try to do this to humanity is a real sad part because as I also being a parent, I am concerned with my younger generation, my children's upbringing in this entire world because it's complete craziness, man. And I realized that up until March of last year, when things were relatively normal outside of the, this health crap, things were relatively good. And to this day, things aren't, extremely bad. It's better than Australia for sure and a lot of other nations. But I'm hopeful and optimistic that we can definitely have some turnaround, man. But we got to give to the Lord, though. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Ricardo from Missouri City, Texas.
Ricardo, what's going on, my man? What's going on with the Rio deal with the border down there, man?
Hi, everything's all good, man. Same old. Nothing new under the sun.
Yes, sir. And, what's going on with you?
I'm sorry, I kind of broke up on you there.
No, I'm sorry. You good. Continue on, man. What's on your mind?
Oh, okay. Quick things. I was listening to Alaskan Prepper, man. He got a lot of good stuff about this carbon credit stuff.
Yeah.
And I was going to sell some land.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I listened to him and did some research on it, I was like, I can use this land that got trees on it as a subsidy currency to help me and my family,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this carbon credit thing, this is Bill Gates has that big old land. Everybody's it's for food, it's for that. No, it's for currency, man. And I'm going to do a little bit more research. But once I saw that, I was like, there's no way in the world I'm selling my land.
Yeah.
Because if Bill, and one last other thing, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that the insurance companies, man? I got two people, one in the medical insurance thing, and he paid his deductible, and they haven't even looked into his claim yet, but it's been over 6 months.
Really?
And and this Wednesday he's going in for another surgery, and still, what I'm saying is the insurance people ain't paying up. There's another fellow, he's in the trucking industry. He hit a deer.
Uh-huh.
And insurance people don't even want to pay up. And that's all I got for you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man, for calling and sharing that, man. That doesn't surprise me one bit, though.
Yeah, no doubt. Right?
Be good.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, good stuff, man. And then that whole carbon credit stuff, man, like that is it's being spun out as a way of eliminating carbon emissions, more neutral friendly, heal the earth, let's come together and let's do something. But yet it's another method of taxing people. And so I haven't really dived too much into it, but just based upon all the stuff I've heard, this whole idea of carbon credit, it puts people who are, i.e. the productive / middle class / your average Joe who's not a big conglomerate, at a disadvantage, because everything you do in your life will be measured as far as some type of carbon emission. You're going to have to pay a tax, extra miles you drive, the food you eat, the water you get in your house, the electricity you use. So I saw an article, I meant to do something about it, but in 2019, the World Economic Forum came out with, it's called the Decoy, and it's a MasterCard-based project that is fully operational. And I want to say it's been rolled out in Switzerland. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a credit card that basically rewards you based upon your carbon emission. The less you consume, the more friendly you are to the environment, and the more benefits you get, and vitamins and cash back and all type of crap. And then once you get to the point where you've exhausted what is considered an allowed amount of carbon intake, whether it be from your food, every time you swipe your card, it has some type of carbon footprint to it, and a calculation with the mileage that the grocer had to drive to the store to drop your veggies off. All that stuff is calculated, and it's very sick and twisted, but it poses as a tax on you, to where they're going to tell you what you can and can't put in your mouth based upon the fact when you go to swipe your card, the card will not go through. It decline, because it'll say something like, you've met your mileage, you've met your emissions and intake and all that crap. So that's the sick and twisted stuff that they're trying to roll out. So when it comes to land ownership and stuff like that, they're going to eventually say something that goes into the having cattle and stuff like that. Manure is carbon according to them, and your animals breathing too much air is carbon. I mean, and they're going to find a way to try to tax you. It's all about a tax. It's sold to us as being user-friendly, eco-friendly, going green, clean mileage, all that crap. But it's a tax. It is a tax to the T. So I saw a Biden speech with the UN General Secretary today, and they're talking. And I saw just a couple minutes of it. They're talking about, obeying the Constitution, and everything that they start off telling you what they're gathering for, they're ultimately doing the exact opposite. So just listen to the words. Whatever they say they're doing, they're supposed to be beneficial. They're doing the exact opposite. And when I heard him say something about how our Constitution gives us, I'm thinking like, this dude literally talking about somehow, some way, at some point, it's going to be a problem with the Constitution according to him, and they're going to have to unravel the damn thing, as if they've been paying attention to any of that stuff. Anyway, let's talk. Apologize for all the ranting. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mike. This is Mike in Philadelphia.
Mike in Philly. What's going on, man?
What? Something that always struck me was how people couldn't, with their own eyes, draw the parallel between the chemtrails and climate control. I mean,
right.
It's very cool that it's just so sensibly observable when they're putting the clouds in the skies and you can see them there for hours, and it blocks out the sun. It changes the These are just large weather patterns that it's very clear. I mean, how else can you explain the chemtrails? How else can you explain planes putting the clouds in the sky? Sometimes you can see the chemtrails are they dissipate quickly. I mean, I've seen them with my own eyes kind of cut clouds in half. Also, if you want to, what's interesting is what they hide behind the clouds and what they do behind the clouds. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, somebody a few weeks ago posted the white page that weather manipulation and warfare. They've been using it in Vietnam, flushing out the tunnels, etc.
Yeah.
But when you see, as you were just discussing, the larger scale international narratives that they push, the taxes, etc., the food control, population control, etc. This is our military doing this. This is not just like random airplanes being run by, who knows, entrepreneurs, Jeff Bezos types. These are not just planes flying through, putting chemtrails in American airspace without the repercussions of the United States Air Force or the military. Yeah. This is our military doing this. The whole premise of everything going on currently is that our military is compromised. We are the ones doing this. We, the populace, we, the people, are being attacked by our own compromised military. Or else they would simply stop this. I mean, we're being invaded. There's foreign people from Haiti coming into Texas, and our military is very lax in stopping it. Yet we spend trillions on this violently trained force that can't put this under heel. It's us. We're doing it. We are the enemy, and we are being opposed by our own military. We're entirely compromised, and if you want to get a sense of who's compromised our military, if you look into the recycling symbol and that green triangle, there's also another set of triangles inside the triangle. So if you look inside the negative of that symbol, you're going to see a star, sometimes referred to as the Star of David, although I've never read in the Bible where David has a star. But if you want to look in the negative of that recycling logo, you will see two sets of triangles, Philosopher's Stone, etc. And I'll kind of leave it at that. Never forget.
Yeah. Hey, man. Good stuff, man. Way to break it down for us, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, good stuff, man. And of course, I couldn't help but jump on that situation down at the border. And so over the weekend, no drones can fly over there. But then again, we got helicopters allowed to go over there now. But one thing that was completely just asinine was that Afghanistani refugees, migrants can be flown over, given accommodations, housing, food, water, shelter, dispersed throughout the country evenly, and given some funding. But yet we got a border full of Haitians, of which is like my first thought was, where and how exactly did they get from Haiti to Mexico and Mexico up? So definitely that's not a typical route. But who backed them? Who funded that? Who flew them over? Who paid for the boat ride over, whatever? And then why were they sent back so easily? Like, why did all of a sudden the administration care announce that they're going to go to the border now and help? And so all the Haitians are flying back, but the Afghanistanis are flying in. And this country has literally been overran from beneath, east, west. And it's a part of the plan to destabilize things, to cause problems, but also to create an additional voice in the country that will get voting rights and probably easy citizenship, as well as stimulus checks and everything else. They're creating more dependence in this country outside of the 1/3 or 2/3 of the population depends on Uncle Sam in some capacity. So imagine bringing in a couple extra million people that would drain the system, would speed up things for more stimulus needed. But let's talk. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Hi, this is Lala, a.k.a. Latrice, calling from Brooklyn.
Hey there. How you doing? Give me a quick thought tonight.
Okay, so you hit on the thing about the Haitians, because I sort of was going to piggyback on that, but you took care of that, so that takes care of one talking point. I'm going to speak really quick. Two things. You posted an article today that talked about how smart people are opting out of the current economic system, and they're not buying into the old paradigm.
Right.
And one of the things I was thinking about, if people could really put their money where their mouth is, we could do something similar like what was done in the 60s, what, we know about Martin Luther King, when he did the Montgomery bus company boycott.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say that is because the scriptures say that God takes the foolish things of this world to confine the wise, and the weak things of this world to confine the mighty.
Yeah.
Well, those people at that time didn't think that those people would be willing to walk to work, because walking to work might mean walking miles.
Yeah.
But those people put their money where their mouth is, and they was able to bring them to their knees. And this whole system, if we participate in it, that's how it stays popped up. The house of cards is only staying stacked because we keep playing the cards that we're dealt. But if we fold and we're not placing any bets, then the game can't be played anymore.
Right.
So that's that analogy.
Very true.
The other thing, I think it was in 2013, the Supreme Court, they said something, because I read an article in a Discord. Somebody posted, they made a decision of how, you see how with the messenger RNA, people are posting videos like on TikTok and stuff that's saying that when they get their arm scanned, a QR code comes up.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not a QR code, I'm sorry, a Q code. I've seen a video where, and then I've seen another video with a guy, he said he walks past a TV and he's giving a Bluetooth, and a message from AstraZeneca comes up on a blank TV monitor.
Really?
Well,
damn.
Yes. Well, exactly. Well, they made a decision that basically said that people that have this altered DNA or RNA, they can't be deemed human. So, like when you say how when Biden and them gave the UN speech, I said this, I think last week sometime in one of the calls, where I was saying people need to think different and think opposite, and that's basically like what you were saying just now, a little bit earlier. But same thing. They plan for all this stuff. So they already have something that, even if the Supreme Court is saying it, it's basically the land of the law of the land. So they're already putting something out where people that's going to have this messenger RNA in them, they're going to be products of a company. They're no longer going to be human. So therefore, constitutional rights and other human rights and alienable rights will not be applicable to them, because they're not even going to be seen as human, quote unquote, anymore.
Right.
Because they're going to have this changed DNA, RNA.
Right. Very
true. So those are the two things I'm going to hit on tonight. And
appreciate you.
That's it.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate you bringing that to our attention. That's something worth touching on further. So thank you.
All right, now you the man. You
appreciate you. No, thank you for adding value to the community with your thoughts. Thank you.
Yes. And just to throw it out there, I'm Linus on Discord.
Good deal. I see you out there posting stuff in Discord, so she be dropping her knowledge out there. Thank you. Let me get this next call. Appreciate you calling in.
All right, now. Have a great night.
All right. Hello, caller. Where are we calling from?
I see you out there.
Hello?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. One more time.
TB, one more time, man. Thank God. One more time.
Allowed it. He's allowed it.
Hey, it's a blessing.
I'm trying to get on your show.
What's going on with you, man?
Oh, man, the world is a lie. You know that.
Yeah, we need more dollars, Tone. Why don't you open up the bank account, man, and bail out some people tonight?
Cali's already got $56 billion in it, man. we just looking to steal some more. It's all. But the Evergrande thing. Don't pay any attention to it, because if China wanted to, they'll bail out their own, and everybody that the U.S. U.S. has got some people involved in Evergrande, right?
I don't doubt it. It's one big evil cesspool of
and all the big names people involved in Evergrande. If China wanted to, they pay for their own and then let the U.S. sink that ship. But they all in it together. Yeah. As long as the U.S. still has the carry trade going on, I'm not believing anything they say about what's going on around us.
Yeah. Now, okay, so with the idea of the Fed, talking about tapering, I would assume they're going to try to continue to run that narrative, and so I'm not anticipating no type of changes the next day or two or Wednesday when they come out announcing what they're going to do. But yet, can that create somewhat of a continuous panic, i.e., sell off, because debt is due, and if you ain't got the currency, then what? It's just not going to stop with Evergrande. We got Cynic Development Group now, and so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and the banks are sitting on some of this loss too. So somebody's going to step in at some point.
Well, no, but we are right now. We're in a quad witching hour, so anything can happen with the markets for the next couple of weeks. So don't be surprised at that. But I just think that with what's going on and everybody, if Powell can buy stocks, I mean, what's true about this market? What is anything true? No, everything's a lie, and they can keep it afloat. You haven't passed budget since Biden's been in office. You haven't given anybody any money since Biden's been in office. And now you come to a week before or 2 weeks before the debt ceiling, and I heard Schumer say, "Well, we got a bill in here to eliminate the debt ceiling until 2022, December of 2022." What?
So is that's supposed to be their budget of that around $3 trillion or so? Because they're gonna need a lot more than that before next 2020, December 2022.
Well, no, when you suspend the budget, we did 8 because Trump suspended it for 2 years. We did 8 year alone. We got to double that. We got to do 16 next year.
Yeah. You said how many?
So we got to do ever since 2008, every president has to double the budget because that's how fakery the money is.
Correct. So Trump, Trump was supposed to do about 30. I know, was it 20? Because he came in, it was like 17, I think, give or take, 17, 18. Yeah, he came in about 17, 18. So he put about 12 on it.
He put 3.
Huh? Under his watch in 2017?
No, he put 3 that went to his watch.
Okay.
And then Biden's then put 8. And if they're going to do it again next year, they're going to probably have to do 6, close to 16. We broke. That's why those ships are sitting out there in California on the coast. Yeah. Because they don't want the dollars. They want to be paid in gold or some sort of other monetary value rather than offload that ship and don't get their money. They get their money with dollars. Yeah. That's my thinking. Yeah. Because nobody else has got this problem. Yeah. And believe me, those ships out there, they are not paid for if they're sitting. You paying for that ship that's sitting out there. They give you a certain amount of time that's free to unload that ship, and if it doesn't get unloaded, they're charging you for it sitting there. Yeah. We can't pay that bill. That's why the ships are sitting there. Yeah. Good point. And watch this. While you're talking, I went through a U.S. debt clock, and I went back in time a little bit to 2016, and just for the national debt sake, it was 19.9 in 2016. So that additional, a little bit less, about 9 trillion was added on since then under his watch and under this current last couple months, give or take. So that's what I was referring to. On Trump's watch? So from 2016 up until now, so President Trump got what, 3.5 years, 4 years of that? He got after 16. Yeah, he got 4 years of that. Yeah, so 4 years of that puts us, that's a little less than 9 on the national debt, huh? I think it was 19 when he stepped in, was it not? Yeah, 19. So I got 19. So I don't know what's when it starts here, but it says on this day in 2016. So it's about 9 months into the year, but so it's about 9. So say 19. So 19 when he came in. And then they added everybody else in on top of it. So they gave it to Trump. Yeah. They added all that on top of it and gave it to Trump. But our real debt. But here's what I want to talk to you about. Yeah. What happens when all this stuff comes to fruition? What happens when everything says I want to be paid? Yeah, it's the bank sitting on the money. Yeah, I mean, so like, want to be paid in full, or just give me my interest? Give me the accruing interest on the debt that you owe me. Type what? Because everybody know they can't get paid. You know what I'm saying? You can't withdraw all your currency back out and put it in your possession because it doesn't exist. The total amount of money is $2 trillion, right? Mm-hmm. And actual money. You talk about actual currency units, yes. Okay. Who's sitting on $2 trillion? You talk about the total M0, M1 in cash? No, just go with what they say is out there in real money. Most of that is abroad, stacked away as safe havens in developed and underdeveloped countries. Like Argentina probably sitting on $1 trillion in their walls, and Africa have it, all them dirty notes. So most of that paper currency is in somebody's vault or in somewhere in Russia and Asia. It's not nowhere near in the U.S. Nobody's got $1 trillion sitting in a bank account. Oh, of course not. But within certain countries, it's good to say that the total is several billion. I won't say $1 trillion, but several billion. It's all on digital. Yeah. No. I wouldn't. Digital. Okay. So it's all digital. There's only actually, if you go to look at the Fed's website, there's only actually a little over $2 trillion of actual money in the system.
Yeah.
Everything else is credit.
Yeah.
So what happens if they say your credit's no good? You got to pay me cash. Who's sitting on $2 trillion? The banks. The banks have the money, and everybody's going to be scrambling for cash. It ain't going to be none. Those dollars that you have that they're printing up, they don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm actually cash. Thank you very much. Well, we don't have cash. The bank's the only one that's got cash and can write that note. Well, what are you going to trade me for? We got to go back to the barter system.
Yeah.
And that's why and I believe that's why Cliff High is saying that 600 is just the start.
Yeah.
He said it ain't even the end. It's the start. Because you are the one that's going to say what your silver and your gold's worth.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is out the door. That goes with the dollar.
Yeah. Good point.
That's not money. And look at El Salvador. What El Salvador do? What other African country that switched to Bitcoin?
Yeah.
They switched to Bitcoin because why? They couldn't get dollars.
Right. And
so
they
if
buying
you
the
can't
dip
get
at that.
dollars and you're using another alternative that the government set up, what is it going to be after that? DeFi? Okay, after you do DeFi, what's it going to be? We just going to pay. No, man, you didn't play too many games with the money.
Good point.
I want cash, or I want some other. I want something tangible.
Yeah. Hey, man.
What they say? Money is king.
Yeah, until it's not, man.
If you can bring me money, I'm good. But I don't want that paper stuff. You print that too much.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Keep your head up.
I appreciate you, man.
All right. Later.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give me silver. I like that. All right, let's talk, man. Give me a call. Let's talk. What's on your mind? And here's another little article I just had to grab. It's just too timely, too fitting. Real quick, I throw this up on the screen, but this is fresh about an hour ago from Newsmax. I'm not sure what, but it says Trump is quoting Trump. Said Trump declares U.S. will soon be considered a third world nation amid the border crisis. I mean, that's a problem, but yet we got a lot of other bigger fish to fry, i.e. the destruction of the currency. But it's just interesting how former president, could you imagine like any other paid and bought for a puppet, prior to these words have never come out of anybody who ever served in the White House mouth but Trump. Like the fact that throwing in the U.S. will be considered a third world nation. That's not saying much. And then factor in, we had Janet Yellen, also over the weekend pleading for the debt ceiling to be raised, or we're going to have a permanently weakened America, i.e. permanently weakened to me says a downgrade and standard of living and everything else. But even in this article, which I can't show it here, but it talked about how expect Americans' lives to become very costly and uncomfortable. And so, yeah, that sounds third worldish, or not worse, maybe fourth worldish to me. But that's going to be a major shock. It's going to be a major shock when the credit market, like when you can't swipe your card and it purchase for you all the things you're used to receiving, either on credit, and you got to solely use just as a debit, if that's even available. A lot of people are going to be hanging high and dry. Anyway, let's talk. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
This is Patrick from Denver. How's it going?
Patrick, doing good, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I just wanted to touch on the whole Peter Thiel tax deal about him with his Roth IRA, the $5 billion in that Roth IRA.
Okay, give it to us.
The federal government is coming after.
Yeah.
So just for people that don't know, he's not even 59 and a half, so he can't withdraw it legally.
Mm-hmm.
But the government's going to go ahead and tax him anyway, just because of the loophole that he did.
Mm-hmm. Really? Okay, I didn't hear about this. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. I won't name the name of the channel that I was watching this morning, but yeah, it's just interesting that they're starting to get to that point where they're trying to instill fear and keep people from saving that amount, or even I think the cutoff now is about 10 million is where they're saying if you have 10 million is kind of the threshold.
Okay.
But,
okay.
It's just,
yeah, I thought I heard something about 5 million was the proposed limit to fall within that category, but I could be wrong. But anyway, but they're gonna lower that damn thing a lot more in days ahead.
Yeah, but I was gonna say for anybody that's in their 20s or 30s that is considering or at least listening to the story going around that Social Security is going to be dried up in 15 years from now or 2030s. I don't see any point in saving money. Everybody is investing right now at all-time highs, but I think the next kind of wave of things will be I wouldn't call it tax evasion, but just trying to lower your tax bill. So whether that means like tax deferred accounts because of what's going on with the Biden administration raising taxes. Everybody's not going to want to pay, so everybody's going to be going the opposite direction. And trying to minimize that. And that's what I never understood about the tax the rich group, because they don't want to. I don't know if it's people don't want to learn or what the reason is, but I've never understood that. Just learn how to lower your taxes and keep all that stuff either in a trust or something like that.
And then speaking of which, the tax deferred vehicles, my guess would be at some point they're going to attack those as well. Whether they attack it to get all that currency now, or then just think about the nature of everything we're experiencing. Taxes only can go up. They have to go up to even try to pretend like they can service the debt. So 10, 20, 30 years from now, you better believe we're going to have an unsustainable tax rate at that point as well, to where I don't think the economy will be existing the way it does now beyond this next 5 years, nevertheless 30 years from now. So my model would be, in my opinion, is get as much out of the system as you can now, in the form, of course, of metals or whatnot and things like that, but things you can actually use now, because tomorrow's not guaranteed, man, especially when they print the currency and everything's denominated in the same currency they destroying too. I would want something that is not directly correlated with the direction of the dollar, negatively especially.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that was my last point is, they're going to eventually tax everything. They're going to come after everything. I feel like I'm going to have a few years of a Roth account left. And so I'm just contributing as such. But there's actually something one of my professors said a couple of years ago, that there's going to eventually be a means tax. So it's not going to be a dollar limit. It's going to be whether they consider you to have the means. And and they're just going to tax whatever you have left. So like you said, get them in those accounts and get it tax deferred before those kind of things go away.
Hey man, appreciate you for calling and sharing that, my friend. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Mike.
So good thoughts, man. Good thoughts. So of course, once again, all this is opinion based. We don't really know how things are going to play out, but we can just use history as well as what's occurring in other nations to kind of put together the pieces of the puzzle of what possibly could be. But yet, one of the things I want to mention, and I like to use the reference to what's happening in Venezuela, Zimbabwe. And so ultimately, when stuff really gets to the point of it no longer completely making sense, then I don't think, taxation will even really be a concern for the majority. Because if they succeed in trying to do what they, are trying to do, which is to remove all wealth from actual citizens itself, then most people, unfortunately, won't have anything to be taxed. It's just the people who are smart enough to withdraw enough from the system, i.e. stash it over here, to where you'll have a way of hopefully rebooting yourself in the next paradigm, if, it depends on what that looks like. And I don't really think in Venezuela right now, and I check with my man Jose, but they're like, people are really concerned with paying taxes or not. Like you can't drain what's not readily available in the hands of the majority. And so I don't really think if stuff really get as serious as I anticipated getting, taxation will even really be a concern for the majority, because, most of that stuff won't even be available. So I think it's more so the quality of lifestyle you live now, trying your best to maintain that in the midst of being cut off from all the exits. Like probably next summer, banking will definitely be hindered, i.e. what's happening in Nigeria. They made it in a town called Edo, where if you don't have proof of who participating, you won't be able to bank. So that stuff is in our future, because they're going to try to roll it out here. So eventually we're going to have an alternative to banking, because as I mentioned, I think it was last week, everything is done through automatic withdrawal mostly. Now it's going to be a matter of trying to have those same comforts and amenities as far as your insurances or whatever, to where they're not actually withdrawing it monthly on their own. Because if you don't bank the way that you used to, it's going to be a completely different shakeup on how to function, man. That's where the good side about that is we're going to have a chance to learn on the fly of how to exist similar to the way prior to technology You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody had instant access at the swipe of a card. You had to actually have some cash on hand. You had to be able to have a skill or two to do and trade some time or whatnot towards different things and growing your own stuff and growing your own food. Like, I've learned more over the last several weeks and months and stuff like that, trying to just experiment, because stuff a city boy like myself never even bothered to think about up until. So just adding value to my my skill set base, I think. But anyway, I'm ranting too much. Anyway, let's get ready to close out, man, with the hour point. As always, man, I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Bless us with your time and your valuable opinions. And as I started off mentioning this, last week's videos, all 3 of them were deleted without warning. And so, you know, assuming this might be up here, but who knows? But I'm trying to make alternative means of being able to connect and have you guys connect. So everybody here, hopefully, you're connected on multiple websites, i.e. Telegram for now, Discord, of course. And of course, there'll be more to come. But beneath this video right here, I put up a Telegram group chat where there's capabilities of streaming live on there, as well as doing a audio hangout. So I'm definitely going to be doing something on there. So I'd encourage you guys, if you're on Telegram, scroll beneath this video here, click that link, join the RTD Telegram as well as the community chat. Those are both 2 ways of connecting, staying informed. And I share a lot of stuff about this global experience we're having. And then also Project Veritas at 8 p.m. tonight released a whistleblower part 1 series of actual people who are behind the scenes recording stuff that, you know, will be definitely some good information worth sharing. And I actually put that video in the RTD Telegram group. So definitely check that out. But anyway, people, let's get ready to dial back. Appreciate you guys for blessing us with your presence. And let's do it again tomorrow, Lord willing. As always, make sure you guys connect on all the other platforms, man, so we can stay connected, just in case we're disconnected at some point. But anyway, let's get ready to close out with some prayer. So it says where you're deleted. Yeah. So D3W says where your videos deleted last time. Yes, they were. They were deleted. But like always, as soon as I'm done recording here, I'm also streaming on Library. So Odyssey, you type in Rethinking a Dollar, the videos are there. On Rumble, the videos are there. So all these videos, they're not just completely gone. They're on other platforms. So you can always catch us there. So that's why I'd encourage you to connect with as many platforms as possible, so that you'll always be able to stay connected to the community. And Red Boy, appreciate you, my man, for that love offering. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for being a blessing. And other than that, I'm probably right now, what I want everybody to do right now, if you can, go to the RTD Telegram chat group, join that, and I'm gonna test a live stream right now. We can talk about some unfiltered talk that we couldn't talk about tonight. So anyway, I'm gonna do that probably the next 10-20 minutes. Log on, see who's available. Let's talk, and you can just connect and just talk back and forth and have some fun, man. Anyway, I've done enough ranting for tonight. Be blessed, be safe. Let's close out with a little bit of prayer, man, for those that are plugged in, man. Like as always, we know what's going on. We got a lot of natural affairs happening, but underneath all that, the spiritual element of things, God is in control still. There's no real worries. There's no need to fear. God is in control, man, and we're going to work this thing out, come high or shine. But anyway, man, I'm excited for opportunities, man. It's going to be, we're experiencing right now what I believe stands a chance of being the greatest moment in history from multiple points, where believers will get a chance to actually test their faith. And then on top of that, actually do some work that will produce fruit that will last for all eternity, i.e. being able to share your faith, share your testimony, win souls for the kingdom of God. There's no greater, I'm sure I can think of something, but off the top of my head, there's no greater privilege to be able to serve and to put your faith to work for you in real time, where it really counts for something that will last, and then to be rewarded now and hereafter. Man, what a great opportunity. Anyway, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight. Lord, I ask that you continue to watch over the community, protect them, and allow your will to be done in all of our lives as it is in heaven, Father. We ask you to give us anointing, strength in our spirits, and give us a jolt of excitement and anticipation, Father, of expecting you to do great things today and tomorrow and every day of our lives, Father. We ask that you would give us the courage and boldness to share our faith and share the good gospel, Father, with other individuals, giving them a chance to receive the gift of salvation that only comes through your Son, Jesus Christ. Christ, Father. We ask that you continue to watch over this nation, whatever is left of it, Father. Allow your will to be done in this nation, Father. We pray that you raise up men and women after your very own heart, Father, to take positions of leadership in this country, to disrupt the plans of the enemy, Lord, and to just, continue to further advance your kingdom so that your will be accomplished. Lord, we thank you in advance for all that you have done in eternities past. In Jesus' name, amen. Whew. All right, people. That is all she wrote for tonight. As always, as I mentioned, click the link, join the Telegram chat. Let's connect over there, as well as the Discord. And I'll see you guys later. Be blessed. Visit Rethinking the Dollar throughout the day, your place for news on metals, gold, crypto, you name it. Scroll down to the bottom and you get a chance to see the daily videos, the recommended videos, and more importantly, the 5 reasons to unplug from the monetary matrix, with the first one being the awakening period. Step number 1, test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions, average is 60%, followed up with the alternative perspective with the monetary reports. Consider becoming a supporter of the Rethinking the Dollar platform via Patreon. Get a chance to hang out off air as well as additional information that can't be discussed on YouTube. Any support is helpful. With the crackdown on alternative media, the best thing to do is to connect off air. Scroll down to the very bottom. You can find Rethinking the Dollar on Telegram, audio, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, you name it. The most important ones will be the email list where you can get notified weekly, the Discord page, and make sure you connect on Telegram. And last, don't forget to visit the RTD store where you can get merchandise as well as additional information and resources. And most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and get your weight up with all the limited edition rounds only available on the RTD store.